Since getting laid off in 2014 from my engineering job in Singapore, I was forced to be self-employed. At the time, I bought property back in Malaysia, so I had to rent it out on Airbnb to make ends meet because I need to pay the mortgage, but I don't have any income, right? So that slowly and surely morphed into like this Airbnb business where I was managing 10 other studios. I did pretty well up until 2020. The pandemic really murdered that business. And the lack of opportunities at the time, I was forced to get back into a job. It was an online digital marketing job because I was pretty good at digital marketing. The pay was garbage. I basically had to start from zero as a copywriter, which I shouldn't have done, but that was the only option available for me at the time. Now I'm back again as being self-employed. So if I can choose between being self-employed or going back to employment, they both have the pros and cons, but if I need to choose between the two, it's being self-employed any day of the week. So I'm making this video that will hit as many of you because this is the wake-up call that you probably need to hear. You're probably thinking about it, but nobody has ever said it to you. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing why traditional jobs are rigged against you, why self-employment is more supportive than you think, how to actually make money online nowadays, especially with the age of AI taking over most people's jobs, and a framework to design your life the way you wanted it, not what society tells you how it should be done. All right. Oh, by the way, if you want help to build your online brand, you can check out my school community where we learn together in a group format. Or if you want to skip all that and just work with me directly one-to-one to make the whole journey a lot faster for you, you can book a call with me. Both of these links are down in the description below. All right. So let's start with this one exercise a lot of people are not doing. And that is, what exactly do you want in life? A lot of you have never thought about this because you're so busy with your day-to-day being caught up in traffic and whatnot that you don't have time to think about this. So let's think about this right now. Close your eyes, sit somewhere quiet, and ask yourself, paint your ideal life where you're happy. Like, what would that look like? For me, I want a job or a business that I could work remotely. I really don't like to commute. There's traffic jams right next to us. We're at a park right now, and I am free to do stuff like this, talk in a park on a Friday at 2 p.m. Like, nobody's here, it's just me and some like garden workers. Like, this is happiness for me. I really don't like to commute. I hate it. And I also want the ability to just be at home or be wherever I want physically. Right now, I have 2 kids at home, and I do spend a lot of time with them, which I think is impressive because not a lot of people can do that. Number 2, what makes me happy is if I don't have to work with people. Because in a traditional job, you have to work with people you don't really want to work with, and you're forced to be there, and that just causes a lot of friction and mental health problems. We'll get to that in a minute. And I want to do some creative work where I am valued for my creativity and for basically just being me. Ultimately, I want a life by design. I want the ability to choose. I want options. I want control. I just want to be happy. Don't we all want to be happy? So why jobs can't deliver this? And I'm going to tell you why I think that and what is the tipping point. Okay, so let's start with this. First of all, why do we all need to physically go to the office in the first place? Like, why do I have to commute? Why do I have to buy a car? Why do I have to rush through traffic? Why does everybody go to work and go back from work at the exact same time? Why does everybody have to go on vacation at the exact same time? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Then parking is really expensive, gas is going up, and then at work I have to eat lunch at a place that's not even good, it's really expensive, and then I have to do small talk with people I don't really care about. Like, who invented this 9-to-5 thing? I believe it was like Henry Ford, the guy who made the car company. They started this all in 1920, but basically we all just followed suit afterwards. And that used to work in 1920s because at the time, salary was pretty high, stuff is not so expensive, and you can afford to only have one person working in a household, right? So that means the husband works, the wife can stay at home with the kids. And this whole 9-to-5 system works. But now, houses are so expensive, groceries are impossible, to the point that we need double income per household. Nowadays, it's really rare to have a housewife. Everybody's mom works nowadays because they need to contribute to the household, like to pay rent or bills or groceries or whatever. You can't just have one salary to pay everything. It's just not possible. Everything's too expensive and the salary has been stagnant for many, many years. Ever since I have a child, I have 2 kids now, I work from home. This is not much of a problem for me, but for the other people who are working 9-to-5, both husband and wife, who's taking care of your kids? So what most people do is they send to like the preschool or something like that, and that costs money. In the UK, like preschool is so expensive that oftentimes the wife just quits their job because that's actually cheaper than paying for the preschool, which is crazy. So this whole 9-to-5 is just outdated. It's not designed to work. So we need to figure out a new way to do things. right? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. And that's why I do this YouTube channel, to document my journey trying to figure this out. And now let's talk about coworkers. You are forced into this building to hang out with a bunch of people that you normally wouldn't hang out with, but because it's your job, you have to deal with them. And there are, in all jobs, there must be some guys who are just absolute lunatics or they're idiots. And you really wonder how they got the job in the first place. But they're in your team now, you got to deal with it. And there's so many politics. Some people, they're not really good at their job, but they're really good with ass kicking, brown nosing. And unfortunately, that's how corporate life is. The people who are really good at their job is not the one who gets rewarded. It's the people who are good with politics are the ones that usually make it out on top. Let's say you get a promotion at job and one of the people in your team is not going to be super happy because they would think, hey, why isn't it not me? It should have been me, right? So now they're plotting to bring you down, and every day you just have to deal with this politics, right? Like, it's just really bad energy. It's just, the whole thing doesn't sit right with me. And not all people are like that. There are some people who never really cause any problems to me. When I, talk to them over the pantry, have some banter, maybe go out for lunch with them. And my God, outside of work, they're just so boring. They're just so boring, man. Like, are you a robot? Like, what's going on? I don't know, man. Is this how we're gonna live our life until we die? There should be a better way to live our life. So I want to have a system where I work with people with the same vibe and same frequency, that we are all supportive of one another. But unfortunately, that's not how corporate works. Corporate is designed to be cutthroat. That's just how it is. And you got to play the game to win. If you don't play the game, you're going to get thrown out, right? You'll be spending the majority of your life dealing people who's going to backstab you, who's going to brown nose with the upper management. And if you don't play the game, you're going to lose out. And even though some of these people, your coworkers, are your friend, you think, when it comes to money and career, jobs, when push comes to shove, they're going to throw you under the bus anytime they get. You know why? It's because at the end of the day, they're trying to support their family. And if they lose the job, they have no money for their family. So it's cutthroat. And you got to understand that. It truly is a dog-eat-dog world. It really is. And that's why I just feel like there should be a better way to live our lives. And the second point is, if you look at our parents, they all work one job, right? They have one job and they work at that one job for many, many years, for 30 years probably. But I don't think that's possible anymore. As you can see, AI is disrupting a lot of industries. People are getting laid off left and right. I was laid off twice. So imagine if you're 35, I'm 38, and you got laid off today, and your industry is tanking now because of AI or whatever, and now you got to start a new career at 38, where you're going to be working and competing with a bunch of 21-year-olds. How emasculating is that? But that's exactly what happened to me during the pandemic. My business was down because of the pandemic. I got to figure out how to make money, and the only job that was hiring at the time was this digital marketing thing, and the only position that was open at that company was like a copywriter. So that was what I was. I started from the bottom at 38. I was working with a bunch of 20-year-olds. It was brutal, man. Oh, it was so emasculating. And then when it came to promotion, like, I was promoted like a senior thing, and then there was another kid in the group that was promoted to the marketing manager, and the only reason why she was promoted was because she was really good with people. Like, everybody likes her. That was the only reason. And as a manager, you want people to like you. And I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not the everybody likes me kind of guy. I'm either you like me or either you hate me. So from their point of view, I'm not a good manager, which makes sense. So I didn't play the game, so I lost. And every day she's just like, oh, hey, I'm the new manager, and like, oh, fuck, this kid can't take it anymore. So what I did was I worked really hard because I want to climb the corporate ladder, because I thought that was the solution. And somehow there was this company, the HR saw my YouTube videos or something like that, and then they say, hey, I want this guy to work with us. And they gave me a call like, hey, we have this position, are you interested? And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So I got the job, where I jumped from like a senior content something to like the head of department for content, which is a big jump. So me and my family, we were all happy. We thought this was gonna solve all my problems. Life is good now, is what I thought. But in reality, in corporate life, right, if you are the head of department, you're the leader there, naturally, the guy who hired you, the CEO, who likes you, they hire you. That's why he hired you, right? Like, he wants you to turn the company around, basically. But the people that you're trying to manage, your subordinates, your team, they may not be super happy that you're their boss, because they would always have this feeling like, hey, why did you get the job and not me? I've been working at this company for like 5 whatever years. It should have been me. But the boss to pick this guy from outside to be their boss, so they're gonna be pissed off. And they're gonna find every way possible to bring you down. And that's exactly what happened. So every day I wasn't really doing my job. I was just managing politics. Like, they basically want to push me out, and I just didn't want to play the game. If you don't play the game in corporate, they're gonna push you out, you're gonna lose. You have to play politics in corporate. And I refuse to live my life like that. Why should I play politics? So the thought would be, okay, why don't I just get another job? But I feel like if I get another job, isn't that the same thing? It's just a different company, right? So I feel like I was trapped. And if you made the mistake of, let's say you bought a mortgage, you bought yet another car, you are further trapped into the system because you got to pay off this thing. Now you got to keep working. You got no choice. And the worst part is, let's say you put up with all this. What you realize is whatever salary that you're getting could barely afford to pay off all your stuff. Like, you basically can't have any saving, is what I'm saying. You can barely pay your mortgage, your rent, your bills, your expensive car that you're pressured to buy to impress everybody else, or the mandatory European holidays that you have to take every year to keep up with the Joneses. You would realize it could barely afford that, if can afford it at all in the first place. So from my experience, and when I talk to other people who are working 9 to 5, most of them couldn't afford any of this stuff. So why are we fighting for these jobs that can't afford anything? It makes no sense now, doesn't it? And not to mention that most of our jobs are at risk now with the advancement of AI that is exploding right now, and everybody is really worried about their job. So you might have to plot your escape a lot sooner than you think. And I hope this video will help you be the catalyst for that. So to sum it up, traditional jobs is rigged against you, man. I've been on both sides, I could tell. And AI is really making the waters a lot muddier than you think. Now, on the opposite side of that is to be an entrepreneur. So there's this misconception that being an entrepreneur is really hard. And I used to think that as well. What I realize is that people nowadays who have made it in the entrepreneur world, they are selling their secrets in the form of coaching or consulting courses. So basically, you can find somebody who has achieved the thing that you want, and they can teach you how to do it too, to be just like them in a coaching kind of thing. So if you think about it, back in the days, without the internet, there's no such thing, right? If you want to learn something and the guy is not living within the vicinity of you, this is not going to happen to you. And I also joined a lot of these coaching programs, and there's other people who also joined the coaching program. And when I found that most of the members also very supportive with one another. And when you're starting out, you don't have any clients, so some of them can be like your first few clients in exchange for testimonials and stuff like that. It really helps out. And if it wasn't for that, you'd probably be a hard time kickstart your business. Even your competitors could be your friend. So what I like about business, and if you build a personal brand on YouTube especially, you would realize that whatever it is that you're selling is a commodity, right? So people don't really buy your thing because you're the cheapest. They buy your thing because they like you and you happen to be selling their thing. Naturally, we would think that, oh, if you have a competitor, we're going to be really secret. We don't want to hang out with them too much because they're a competitor. But I got to tell you something. There's this one lady who's doing something very similar to what I'm doing. She approached me on LinkedIn and DM'd me like, hey, we're in the same space. Let's have a coffee chat. And I'm like, usually I don't entertain this, but then when I Googled her up, I saw that she has a YouTube channel and she's about my size. And I'm like, all right, she seems legit. Let's hang out. So we were on the virtual call. We kind of vibed. And then she said, hey, next couple of weeks, I'll be in Malaysia. And I'm like, oh, cool. Let's hang out. And that's what we did. We hang out at a cafe. We shot a video together. It was great. And yeah, we became friends. So being an entrepreneur, it's not as cutthroat as you think. It's a myth. It's a myth that 9 to 5 people say to you to scare you so you don't quit your job, and you have to rely on them, and you have to be in the system, and you just have to put up with it. I think it's a myth. They want you to feel that way. And the next point is why I don't like to be employed again is because life is short, man. I'm 38. I'm healthy, but health, anything can happen to you. You would never know, right? And life could end without you knowing it. And what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna build somebody else's dream? If you work for somebody, they're gonna like squeeze the living daylight of you. For every cent that they pay you in terms of salary, they wanna get the most out of it, right? You're gonna be working late, you're gonna miss your son's birthday, you're not gonna be able to pick up your kid and stuff like that. And the boss is out there playing golf or at home, and I don't like that every meeting with the boss, they just want to set unrealistic KPIs. Oh, how much views do you think we're gonna get? Oh, it's this much. Okay, can we bring that up again to this much? That's your target next. And I'm like, it's just never ending. Why can't you just be happy? But you can't say that. And for them, they think that if I do this, then I'm a good boss because I'm moving the company forward, which does make sense. But if you're on the receiving end of this, it's super annoying, right? If I hit a KPI and I exceed it by a lot, all you're gonna do next is say, okay, your KPI is gonna be up up here now because you overshot the one that I gave you. So it encourages me to just hit the KPI just enough, not too much, because if I go way above the KPI, you're going to set another thing way off above that, and what's the point? So the whole system is not designed to reward being the best. You have a goal, complete the goal, that's it, right? So the whole thing is rigged. It's stupid to me. It makes no sense. And I really don't like that. I was a head of department in content. Every week we gotta show up to all the head of department, hang out with the CEO, and they grill us all. And I don't know why they have to grill us. It's like he wants to show his power and ego or something. Like, I'm gonna grill you. What's the KPI? Like, oh, fuck off. And it's just so annoying. It's just exhausting, you know? And let's say you do a good job anyway, you get promoted. Now, all you're doing is moving yourself closer to that CEO you don't want to be with in the first place. Is that really how you want to live your life? I don't know, man. And you're also a grown-ass man. Why do I have to ask another grown-ass man to take time off to be with my kid, or just to take time off? I just want to take time off not to do anything. I don't want to fill out a form. Makes no sense if I'm sick and I have to go to the clinic to get some sort of document. But I'm sick. I don't want to do this. I'm sick. But I got to do it, so it's proof that to the HR that I'm not lying. It just makes no sense. Now, as a self-employed person, I'm pretty free. I can take days off whenever I want. I send my kid and pick him up from preschool every day. Before we head home, we play with the swings, and I can do that. Every time when there's a school trip, all the teachers know I'm always going to be there. They never ask me like, hey, can you show up to this? They always say, hey, we have the school trip on Monday at whatever, 11 a.m. And they know I'm going to be there. Isn't that lovely? And the next thing about why I don't like to be employed is that I didn't feel fulfilled, and it was really damaging to my mental health. So in one of my old jobs, there was this thing where everybody was leaving the job because the pay was shit and the culture wasn't good. The CEO talked to the HR, hey, you got to figure this out. You got to figure out how to make people stay. So the HR had this idea like, okay, we're going to constantly give everybody gifts and all these perks, which cost the company a lot of money, right? I work from home and the company would send me like random ice creams, which was nice, but like, why can't you just raise our salary to a livable wage? Why can't you just do that? I mean, that's the reason why people leave. It's not that people leave because you're not sending ice cream to my house, you idiot. So basically companies would do whatever it takes except for pay you enough money. So as a self-employed person, I am really grateful that we live in an age where I can create natural videos like this, just me talking, sharing my stories. So some of you will feel really resonate with this story, and naturally you're going to be like, hey, who's this guy? I kind of like him. Let me see what he's all about. Then you're going to click on the description and check out my links and check out my website. And some of you are going to opt into my email and maybe buy some stuff from me or become my client. And that's all going to happen naturally because I create content on YouTube just like this. And I'm really grateful that I live in an age where this is possible, right? So you have the option to do this. Back in the days, you don't have this option. Then, not only that, I can actually choose who I can work with. If I don't like you, I could just say, I'm sorry, this is not a good vibe between us. Let's move on, find another person, and that's fine. And I can attract people from all over the world. They pay me in US dollars, but I live here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, which things are not super expensive. So that's great. The other thing is when you're self-employed, your earnings are uncapped. So I remember the first time I made $13,000 in a single month, and that was insane to me. I've never earned that much money in my life. And I remember when I saw the money in my bank account, like actually in my bank account, it was 100% me from the internet, and I just couldn't believe it. It really felt unreal. The other thing about mental health is that I think a lot of people are stressed out at work. They're not happy. They are really stressed about the horrific commute to work. And here in Kuala Lumpur, everybody have to drive. So the jam is really bad. And there was this article in the news that this one time, they were interviewing people, and people say that, oh my God, they were so stressed out about work, about commute, that sometimes before they head up to their work, they just sit in their car and just start screaming just to release the pressure. And I'm like, man, I don't want to live my life like that. And I don't want to work with people I don't want to work with. But these are all the downside of being employed. Now, I'm not going to say being a self-employed is all rosy. Being self-employed, you don't have all these problems, but it does have another set of problems. So one of those problems is, yes, you don't have an uncapped income, but at the same time, you don't have a floor either. So there are some months where you're not going to make any money, and that's going to be also stressful. So what we're trying to figure out first is you're going to make your first couple of $1,000s online, and the next stage is how to make that recurring, right? So this is going to be another video. So now we've explained the pros and cons of being employed and self-employed. So how do we actually make money nowadays? especially in the age of AI. So I predict in the future, a lot of companies will start to realize that, hey, we don't really need all these people because now we have AI. So a lot of jobs will be eliminated. And I think a lot of workers will be reduced to like contract workers. So you better start creating content, building your personal brand online so you can be the person that they want to actually hire as their contractor. But your follow-up question would be like, okay, what kind of content should I do? Like, should I do how-to tutorials? Because that's what you see on YouTube? No. I think we're at the age of AI. People can just ask AI how to do something, so they're not going to watch your video. So what, you're going to sell an online course? Well, that's what AI is here to take over as well. So the appeal of online courses, digital products is also kind of dwindling away because AI can simply give you the answer. The truth is, building your dream online business is going to take time. It's going to take years. It's going to be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It's not as rosy as what some guru tells you it is. It's not going to take you 6 months. What I find really works is you create very simple videos that just tells your story, just like how I am right now. People who vibe with your story, your insights, your views of the world would vibe with you, and naturally they'll be like, hey, I like this guy or girl. What is this guy about? They're gonna click on your links and go to your website and see what you're about. Naturally, that's gonna happen. So just make simple videos that tells your stories, especially when you open up being vulnerable, like how I tell you about all these past jobs and failures that I had. But at the end of the video, you have to tell people what is the lesson that you learned, right? How did you overcome it, or how do you plan to overcome it? Then it's not like the sad story, it's a happy ending. Once you start creating content for a while, you start to realize that some of these content will gain traction and some people will reach out to you like, hey, I resonated with your story, I also have the same problem, I wonder if you can help me to solve that problem too. And that's when you can start making offers. So an offer could be a digital product, that's the easiest, it's some sort of template, or it could be a consultation, it could be a coaching thing, or you could straight up offer them a service. Like, hey, I'm gonna do this for you in exchange for money. For example, when I did content, I had this website just explaining about my personal brand. Somebody went to the website and then they DM'd me and said, hey, who did your website? Because it's really pretty. And I said, I know, it's me. And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, wow. Hey, look, I need a website for my business too. Can you help me build that website for my business? And I'm like, sure, yeah, have a call. So you see, that's how you make an offer from creating content. You have to share what you're good at, what you're doing, so people who vibe with you, they want you to do the thing for them. Now, being self-employed, it's not about making fuck you money. Of course, if you make fuck you money, that's great, but like, that's not really what I want. All I want is, I figured if I make $20,000 a month, I'd be happy. 20,000 is not that crazy. It's high, but it's not impossible high. It's more about freedom. It's more about, I can choose what I want to do, where I want to be, who I want to work with. It's living a life by design. It's not to conform to the dogma of society. And to me, that's what being self-employed is all about, and why I choose to be self-employed any day of the week versus being employed at a job. By the way, if you need support in your online business, check out my school community. And if you want to skip that and work with me one-to-one so you move a lot faster, book a call with me. Both of these links are down in the description below. So if you want to see how I use content like videos like this to get views, and then how I use that views to turn it into leads, customers, and clients, like the whole system, like how it works, watch this video right here.